Hi, I'm John Crawford and I'm blind. Okay, happy weekend, everybody. First of all, I want to make a shout out to Javi Silva. I think that's his screen name. He and I have been chatting a little bit today through our comment sections, and we're talking about the loss of parents. I lost my dad in 1997, and I'm now caring for my aging mother. And Javi was just talking about how he had recently lost his mother. Javi, man, it does get better, brother. Just keep the faith. Okay, so I was asked by another commenter about my hobbies, and I think this is a good thing to talk about because it will shed some light on what people in the blind world like to do. We're just like everyone else, and we have things that we like to get into. A lot of people don't realize that we like to do a lot of the same things that people who can see like to do. So I'll tell you a little bit about some of my stuff. I started out as a young person getting into the martial arts. For those other blind martial artists out there, I was into Shotokan karate, mixed with Kenpo and some Aikido, and I discovered Tai Chi a little bit later on down the way, and that was a really good find for me since I don't really do martial arts all heavy anymore, but I still like to do the Tai Chi because I have a bad back, and it's still something that I can do. I also tried to play regular sports when I was a kid. But I never could. Obviously, I wasn't going to flourish. I tried playing football with my friends and basketball and baseball. Those things didn't pan out very well. I discovered racquetball when I was a teenager, and not so much competitive racquetball. Like I said in another video, I attempted to play racquetball with a couple of guys, and they beat me really bad. So, I mean, that stands to reason. I'm not going to play racquetball to that level with a sighted person. But I had a special rule for myself when I was playing racquetball where I allowed myself 2 bounces of the ball so that I could locate the ball. I think in a standard game of racquetball, you get 1 bounce on the floor before you have to hit the ball. I got briefly into windsurfing. My brother was teaching me how to do that. So I was pretty active as a kid. I used to like to ride my bike everywhere. So nowadays, I'm heavily into music. I play several different musical instruments and I like to sing. I also am a musician at my church. I like to study foreign languages. Currently, I'm studying Russian. I'm from Hawaii, so I'm studying Hawaiian, Portuguese, and Japanese. I also like to read. I like to read sci-fi and fantasy. I'm also a ham radio operator. I got into ham radio. Actually, I knew about ham radio from the time I was a little kid. My dad was a ham. His call sign was KH6HKI for you hams out there, but he's long gone. He passed away in 97. But I got interested in it even from the time I was a kid. But I didn't like the Morse code requirement. I found that to be very difficult when I was younger. And then back in 2014, I found that they didn't require the Morse code anymore. So I went and took my test, and I am now an extra class ham. My call sign is KW4QJ. Ham radio is just a hobby where you can talk on radios to people. They have modes like digital modes where you can transmit stuff by way of computers over ham radio bands. They have amateur television. There's still a lot of Morse code out there, which is really cool. I am pretty much a phone mode guy, but when I had an HF radio, I also like to do Morse code, what we call CW. So that was what I got into with ham radio. Another thing that I always enjoyed and always will, as much as I can possibly, with the vision that I've got left, is video games. When I was a kid, I was in the arcade all the time, trying to play Pac-Man, trying to play Centipede and Space Invaders and all that good stuff. I got really good at a game called Karate Champ. If any of you guys remember that one, that was one of the very first one-on-one fighter type games that was ever invented. And that was a really cool game. I got pretty good at that one. I had an Atari 2600 at home. That's how I cut my teeth in video games. Currently, I have a Nintendo Switch, and I mostly play Pokemon games. I know that in the blind community, there are some amazing blind gamer dudes out there who are talking about the accessibility of modern video games, and they're doing really, really cool things with blind people and video games. And I want to get into that some and find out if I can get into some of the more modern gaming. But for now, I'm currently playing a lot of Pokemon. I've always really enjoyed Pokemon. I've always enjoyed the whole Pokemon thing. So I don't mind my gaming experience currently to be mostly Pokemon games, but when I was younger, I had a PlayStation 2. I liked flight simulator type games and occasionally a D&D type adventure game, you know, like Baldur's Gate or something like that. Speaking of D&D, I used to play D&D a lot. We were back in the 2E and 3.5, all the way up to 3.5E back when I was playing. So those are just some things that I, as a visually impaired person, like to do. And I want to wish everybody a very happy weekend, the rest of this weekend. And I would like some of my blind talkers out there to get in my comment section and talk about some of the things that you like to do, or link up your videos and to show us what you're talking about with your hobbies too, so that we can let people know what kind of things that blind people like to do. Have a wonderful weekend, and we'll talk to you later. Bye.